sing for you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. May your dreams come true. Together as one, through thick and thin. With love in our hearts, the season begins. Generation Next, we sing for you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. May your dreams come true. Together as one, through thick and thin. With love in our hearts, the season begins.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of the GN Sports Show with me, George Sour Dublin. And we have a really packed lineup for you this week. In our Spotlight segment, we will be featuring two young generation next players, U15 player Tristan Henry and U17 player David Dumet. Also will be on the show with us this evening is the icon Mervyn M.R. Richards, who was a former national footballer, coach and youth development coach. Also we'll be featuring Georgetta Lewis, who was a female national player, a coach, a mentor, and now she's featuring on the ABFA newly 8th program, Beat the Expert. Also will be in the house is Dr. Rick and Dr. Chris, and we'll be continuing from last week's episode with a part 2 from that interview. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Our vision is to become the premier platform for showcasing and empowering young student athletes, providing them with the tools and exposure to excel both in sports and life, while shaping the next generation of confident, media-savvy leaders. The GN Sports Show is dedicated to highlighting the talent and stories of young student athletes across all sports disciplines. We aim to equip them with vital media exposure and public speaking skills, helping them grow into confident individuals both on and off the field. Through engaging interviews, mentorship, and real-world media experiences, we strive to foster personal and professional development that supports their athletic journeys.
Welcome to the GN Sports Show. And in our Spotlight segment this evening, we'll be interviewing two young generation next players, U15 player Tristan Henry and U17 player David Dumet. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
How are you all doing?
Very good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Yeah, I went to school today?
Yes, we did.
Oh, okay, all right. So, looking forward to the weekend then?
Yes.
Oh, all right. So, what school do you go to, Tristan?
I go to St. Anthony's
And
Secondary.
you
St.
David?
Anthony's Secondary.
St. Anthony's Secondary. So, both you are in the same farm?
No,
he's
I'm
a
in
form
5th,
higher.
he's in 4th.
You're in 4th and he's in 5th? Or he's in 5th and you're in 4th?
I'm in 5th and he's in
All right,
4th.
I'm just making sure I get it right. So you're in 5th and he's in 4th. All right, so both you attend the Generation X Football Academy. But before we get to the footballing part of it, both you go to Sydney. Who's your favorite teacher?
Everyone has their own quality. Everyone has their favorite. I don't really have a favorite, but if I had to say a person I like the most is probably my geography teacher, Mr. Maurice.
All right, Mr. Maurice. And you?
Mr. Fabian.
What Mr. Fabian teaches?
POB in economics.
POB in economics. So I'm just gonna take a guess here. So you like the geography side of it, so that's why, and you're into economics and POB?
I mean, it's okay, yes.
It's okay. So so that's one of the subjects you're going to be doing in CXC, economics and POB.
Yes, sir.
All right, no problem. So yeah, how much people in your class?
Around 23, I'd say.
Around 23, and you?
Maybe around 25.
About 25. All right. So what's your favorite subject? I have to go with David first.
Definitely physics.
Physics, and you?
Geography.
Why physics, David?
I like math and it just correlates perfectly with the physics. So.
You know, it's like I've been doing the show this season. I've been hosting the show, and I can't remember one kid that come here and don't like math. I can't remember I've interviewed a kid that some one of them always like math, and I just hear everybody crying how math is so difficult at CXC, but so many kids like math is just amazing to me. And you, why geography?
Geography, I've always wanted to be a pilot, and geography for me, it's a pathway to being a pilot, so definitely.
Oh, okay.
I like geography.
Okay, but you know, being a pilot, I think one of the requirements, well, when I used to in the day, I used to play football, and there was this fella Elvis, I think his name was from Five Island, he was a pilot. And they stopped him from playing football because they say you can't be a pilot with a broken limb. If you broke a hand or a foot, you can't be a pilot. That's what I was told. So you gotta be, a little careful just in case that rule still applies. All right. So Tristan, I know you're in Generation X. U15, which is the team I coach, and you're in 17, which Ken coaches that one. But all of us work together. So why y'all choose football? Because apparently over at SAS there's a wide variety of sports that y'all could have chosen, but both y'all chose football. So why football?
Football, I started playing football from a really young age. I stopped for a while because I wasn't interested, but I'd say maybe when I was 13, I got back into football. I really liked watching football, I liked playing football, and Generation X, it's easy for me to just go over after school, and I was really inspired by one of your players, Joshua Enriquez.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I chose Gen X.
And you?
I've also played from a very young age. I've tried a variety of sports, but the love for football has always been there, so I like to continue on with it.
But I would just like to go on the record and say that y'all made a really good choice. That's just me. You know, I'm not being biased to football. I think y'all made a really good choice. So like in football, do y'all really like watch the local football in the country, or y'all just stick to the Generation Next side of it and the school side of it? Anyone y'all have ever represented SAS in this Ministry of Sports School League?
I've played basketball.
Play basketball, never play football.
No.
You?
No, I haven't.
Play. And you're in fourth form, you say, and you're in fifth. So football season under 20 just finished. You didn't play. Y'all didn't have an under 20 this year.
No.
Well, unlucky. Unlucky. So, in world football, which team would you say is your favorite team, Tristan?
Oh, definitely Liverpool.
And you?
I'd say Real Madrid.
Real Madrid. So you don't like the team in England?
I don't really know too much.
You don't know too much, so you watch the Spanish league.
So,
Well, that's fair. I think Real Madrid is a really good team too. I like Real Madrid to some extent, but I'm more of I was a Messi fan, but I'm not a Barcelona fan. I was a Messi fan, you know, and I was a Zidane fan, and then I was a Real Madrid fan. So, but Zidane was way before your time. See, I would think. So you like Liverpool. So, who in Liverpool would you say your style of play fits? Which player in Liverpool you think that you like to pattern your style of play off of?
I guess Hugo Ekitike.
You get a TK.
Yeah,
And what position he plays?
striker.
Be a striker. So you think you could be a striker?
I would love to.
You'd love to. All right. Well, I think I could help you to get there. I can't guarantee you're going to get there quickly, but eventually you'll get there, you know, if you stick to it. And you, David, who would you say your style of play would pattern?
I'd say maybe Jude Bellingham.
Jude Bellingham. So that means you just keep going.
Keep
There's
going.
no stopping.
There's no stopping.
I like that. I like that for you, David. I think you probably could definitely be that type of player from training sessions and so on. You know, you're one of those type of players that will listen and you don't give up. You keep going, and that's really good in anything you do. You know, not to give up on it. You know. So, do you think Real Madrid is going to win the Spanish league this year?
I hope so.
No, I didn't ask if you hope. I asked what you think.
Yes, I do.
If you hope, if everybody hope, then you know it's just all going to be hope. So
Yes.
you got to be confident that your team is going to be able to. And you, Chess, because it's not looking good for Liverpool, though.
Oh, I know it's a drought right now, but I'm sure we can come back.
With that drought,
I'm sure.
I don't see a coming back for y'all. But if y'all do make a comeback, that will be a miraculous comeback.
Yeah,
You know, so.
most definitely.
So, like after school and so on, do y'all want to? Well, probably will go off to college, innit?
Yeah.
And hopefully that y'all will continue y'all football there. But is there any team in Antigua that y'all think y'all like to go and play for? Or have you ever really like watched the local league per se like that?
I haven't personally watched the local league, and I'm not really like versed on any teams in Antigua,
Okay.
so I can't really give you my opinion on that.
All right, and you?
Me neither. I've never really watched like local teams players.
Well, for sports, right, especially for football, it's always, I know when you like something, you know, it's always good to kind of connect with it where you are. You know what I'm saying? Because you could watch the Spanish league, you could watch the English league, but that style of football will be totally different to our style of football. You know what I'm saying? So if you connect with what we have here, then you could be able, you will develop faster because you will know how to play against the players that are here. You're not going to play against the players that you're watching on the telly. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm not saying to go and join the team, but just watch it, something, go watch a little school league and you'll be able to connect, you'll see what other players doing and the way you could assess yourself and that will help your development. Sure. You understand where I'm coming from? So, well, my team is Chelsea. I know, you didn't like to hear that, Tristan. You didn't like to hear that, did it? You didn't like to hear that. Well, that's all right. But I think Chelsea is going to win the league this year. I think Liverpool is going to come a stiff fourth or so.
I don't think Chelsea's going to win.
You don't think so?
I don't, as much as I wouldn't want Arsenal to win, I think they are going to win.
All right. I don't see Arsenal winning, but I think Real Madrid, David, has a really good chance of winning. I think they're top of the league right now, isn't it? Right. And Mbappe is on fire. Yes, the World Cup coming up in the summer, and I'm a France fan, so Mbappe better stay on fire. He better stay on fire because we need to win that World Cup. But it's very nice having both of y'all here. I've worked with both of y'all at Generation Next, and I think you're a pleasure to work with both of y'all because y'all don't give no trouble whatsoever. I could definitely tell anybody that, and y'all listen and y'all try y'all best. And that is all I could ask y'all to do. I'm getting better at this coaching things. I think I could help y'all. So I have one more year with you and 2 more with you. So hopefully by the end of it, y'all will be better footballers and we could, propel y'all football career and continue after Generation Next. So thank y'all for coming, and I wish y'all all the best.
Thank you, sir.
All right. And with that, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. Good evening and welcome back to the GN Sports Show with me, George Dublin. And in the main event this evening is a football icon in the house, a football icon, Mervyn Emma Richards, who I had the privilege of being coached by and managed at youth and senior level. Good evening, Mr. Richards.
Good evening,
So it's definitely a pleasure to have you here. I've interviewed 2 icons in the last 3 weeks. I had Hugo about a week ago, and now I'm having you here. So it seems like I'm having a great Christmas. Great Christmas.
Well, I want to thank you very much for inviting me here. And those kind words that you mentioned earlier about me being an icon and all that stuff. And, and had the privilege of coaching you at both at youth level and on the national level, senior level.
I speak in the truth. I speak in the truth, and only that can set you free to say. So just quickly take us back, to the early days of sport in Antigua and Barbuda, and when you realized that you had that love for sport and you understand you played football and you played cricket.
Well, yeah, I'm from a cricketing family, of course. We live not too far from a park, which has now turned into a residential area, But just little boys around. No computers, no cell phone, or nothing, none of these modern things really. So all we could do is find ourselves on a field, either playing football or cricket, and it was seasonal. There was a cricket season, and then after the cricket season, there was a football season. So that's perhaps why I was, I had the privilege of playing both sports. And of course, our father was a sportsman himself. He also played football and cricket for Antigua and for the Leeward Islands. And if you want to call it a mild form of a parents, trying to encourage their children to do what they did before, it turned out pretty good for us.
Well, all right. So you're from Ovals, right?
That is correct.
And you say I lived very close to a park. So where your father, where the statue of your brother, Sir Viv, is there y'all raised up?
That's right.
And where the park was?
On the other side, there was a gutter with a lot of willow trees.
Okay.
Willow trees, and from that side there on the gutter going east. All right. It was just a park. And it was huge.
I didn't even know that.
When you were small.
Okay.
It was a huge park for us, but as we got big and so we realized how small the area was.
The area was?
Yeah.
All right. So what school you attended?
Well, there was a Miss Ross school, Miss Ross Primary School in the Ovals area also. And I can tell you that after you've grown big, you realize that the school was a house, and my classroom was in the kitchen, and the bigger classrooms were like the bedrooms, for the bigger children, So I started there at Ross Primary School, and then I went on to St. Michael's School, And then from St. Michael's School, I ended up at the Antigua Grammar School.
And at the Antigua Grammar School is where you started playing competitive football, or you started before that?
That's correct. Yeah, that's yeah. I was home one day. We had some coconut trees in the yard, and we picked some coconut, and I was there cutting. And one of the senior boys, I was in first form at the time. I was about 14, 15 years old. And the captain of the team, one of the senior boys, a fellow by the name of Stephen Claxton, came one day and just says, "Well, you like to go represent grammar school?" I say, "I wouldn't mind, And he threw me a jersey and said, "Look, wear it to the march past that particular Sunday." And it wasn't a pleasant march past for me, because there was a guy from Grace Farm by the name of Bowsy. Bowsy, yes. I saw a broken leg. Bam!
The first day.
Yeah. It was Harrigan. Harrigan that's around volleyball and stuff like that.
I know the name.
Yeah, from the time he got that foot broken, never played football again, And thought that maybe volleyball would have been much safer for him,
Okay.
But that's where it all started, and then I played a year or two for grammar school, and got selected for the national team when I was 16 years old.
The senior national team or at the youth level?
No, I never played youth level.
You never played at the youth level?
No. I went straight to the national.
So did you
senior team.
Did you represent grammar school in cricket also?
Yes.
And how was that for you?
Well, our father used to have myself and Viv, the three of us in the park, Viv was the one that he saw with the potential as being a batsman, and I should have been a bowler, really.
Well, you're taller than Viv, isn't it?
Yeah, but I should have been a bowler, even though when I started playing for grammar school, I had to beg for bowling, because himself and Taddy.
Taddy Avondale.
Yeah. Okay. I say in a little humor with a little seriousness too, but they were a little bad-minded. Both Viv and Ting, whatever they said,
is what it was.
What it was, And so, I also played cricket, and went and played for Antigua cricket and the Leeward Islands cricket too, just because it was seasonal, Yeah. I much preferred football, really,
Well, growing up, your name was always one of those names that we used to hear as kids growing up. And the things you did, I was never privy to actually see you in action, unfortunately, but I've been told by people before me how good you were. I think they also said you went on and played in the States.
Yes, well, for a little bit. We went for a little tryout, I think it was 1979, for the Washington Diplomats. We thought it was supposed to be a tryout, but at the end of it, we realized it was just an exchange program where three of us, got the opportunity to go and train with the Washington Diplomats in the MSL at that particular time.
And was
it was the NASL at that time, North American Soccer League.
Was that the era when Pele went there, or that was before?
That was the era, yeah. That was the era when Pele was there, yeah.
And
because
who was the other two that went with you?
That was Dit Lake, and Sam Smith.
Sam Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I think I heard.
And Ference. And Ference, it's three of us. Four of us actually went.
Okay.
And Alexander Ference. Yeah.
And how was it?
It was pretty good. But I realized that, when you get the opportunity to go over and, to try out for some of these professional teams and stuff like that, you need to have an agent. We were just by ourselves,
There was nobody from here, so y'all was just there and just going to train and
just going
through the motions.
Exactly. And there were a couple of South Africans who were there too, but then there was this agent, and he was always in the ears of the guys,
Right.
talking about his two players,
Somebody was there selling his players where there was
That's
nobody
right.
there to represent y'all.
Exactly,
Y'all was just
exactly.
left up to it. And I guess that was something new for y'all, innit? Because that is not like how it in Antigua here. you're known, everybody know you, so that would have been, but out there, you needed somebody to be
exactly,
that person
exactly.
to speak to these people.
And that's why, I'm saying, that, for those little things, now, you want to be in a position now that any young talent, young person coming along, that, they don't make that mistake. They must have somebody there to actually push them and to talk for them, and to negotiate with them.
Definitely. So I know you did some time working in the Ministry of Sports, isn't it?
Oh yes. Well, most of my years, I started out as a coach, a football coach within the ministry, and then I went on to be the assistant director of sports, and then turned out to be the director of sports before I retired.
So who was the director of sports when you was?
Of course, Pat White. You remember
the legend himself.
The legend Pat White.
The
legend Patrick White.
And
Yes.
I can't say that he was definitely a legend. He was well spoken about, and he had that discipline element about him.
I certainly learned a lot from him. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So between football and cricket, when we say cricket, what is your experience? Your best experience you could say you had playing cricket, representing Antigua or representing. Did you play local cricket here for a club?
Yes, I played. Yeah, I played. I started at Antigua School, and after I left school, I played for St. John's Cricket Club. And the sad thing about when I say club, it was really a club because you had to pay your subscription fees,
right?
And then you get the rules of the club and the days that you're supposed to practice, and of course that's lacking now today because there are a lot of teams out there.
Yeah,
even in football,
there's a lot of teams now. Yes, there's more teams than clubs at this present.
I am telling you,
football, I can't say for cricket. I don't follow cricket. So I don't know.
It's about the same thing, It's about the same thing right now, and it's kind of sad, As soon as someone decide to go and play for a particular team and they are not selected to even on the starting 11, they want to transfer, and it's the sponsors and so who sponsor the club, the team, right, would be responsible for paying the transfer fee. So all the players have to do is just to move from one to the next, and he's not satisfied with how things are going,
This. All right. So, as I just asked, give me your best moment. If you had to say, this is what I did in cricket at this particular time, what would you tell me about? Because I don't know your cricketing background. So tell me one thing that Emma did in cricket that I need to know about.
Well, at one particular point in the local cricket competition, I had the most runs, 146, 56 not out. And the way I was batting, they probably changed the not out to can't out. 156 can't out, because I batted for a whole Sunday, and I was playing for InspAyre that particular time. Could you believe it? I played against InspAyre in football, right? And went and joined the cricket club.
So you're playing. So who you was playing football for? Superstars.
Superstars, yeah.
Right.
I played
so
after.
You play for Superstars in the football league and InspAyre in the cricket league.
At InspAyre, and InspAyre in the cricket league. It's just amazing.
In that time, were there any footballers from InspAyre playing in the cricket team too?
Of course, there was Mervyn Edwards, and then you had Turtle, who was the goalkeeper at one point.
Okay.
For InspAyre, you had Scout. Scout was a good little seam bowler also, and then you had KS, of course.
Okay. KS play cricket too?
Of course. Yes, as a matter of fact, KS will tell you that he preferred cricket and football.
I didn't know that. I thought he was just a footballer.
That's how that surprised me when he said that. Okay. That he prefers cricket and football, and he was a better cricketer than footballer.
So now, as you've been in the game so long and around so long, I know during my time coming up, I used to see a lot of older players who would go and do a lot of self-training and so on. In your time, was that something that you did on a regular, or just wait until you got to the training pitch?
Oh, no. You have to help to develop yourself as much as possible too, so that at least things are much easier when the team got together and practice, because I was a very good dribbler. I started off playing in tennis shoes, church socks, right? And I remember there was a guy by the name of Brother who used to manage Acme, and came and says, "Look, little boy, I need to buy." And he bought me a boots and stuff like that, right? But what I'm saying is that at that early age, you know, I would beat guys, and I'd come to the goalkeeper, and I didn't have any sort of power per se, you know. And I remember one time I beat InspAyre backline, and then when I tried to kick the ball just trickle on to the goalkeeper. You hold it back to me and say, "Try again, youngster," you know. And I try again, bam, and it was really, really embarrassing because the ball is tricky. He said, "Well, you can't even make it, man, again," you know. And I said, swear to myself that, look, this is not going to happen again. So I started getting up early in the morning and went to school, to the east side of grammar school.
Okay.
And started to kick against the wall, and the ball came back, just running again, and pow, just practice power, both legs, right? And I made several attempts a little later on in my career to try and kill a goalkeeper.
Unsuccessfully though.
Well, I still a couple of them, you know.
So in your footballing career at grammar school, how much school championships did you have?
Well, you see, this is it, you know, and I think some of these things are kind of lacking in today's, you know, in the schools football program, right? We had house matches. We played house matches, right? Okay. I was in Hudson House, so Hudson would play against school would play against so-and-so, you know, and apart from that, you had class matches too, class against class. So there was a lot of football played.
But isn't it like how it is now, where school plays school?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that there were more. How do you arrive at the national at the school team is to play house matches, house matches, right? And that is how you get selected to play for your school, or you know, and then and so forth. But you don't see much of that anymore. You know, it's just that somebody decided to go and put their name on the notice board that they're interested in playing, and they come one or two practice, and then they, you know.
The game has changed a lot compared to in the earlier time, because when I went to school, we used to do house against house too.
Right.
We did a bit of class against class.
So you played a lot?
Yeah, I played a lot of football every time, and so on and so forth. Back then. But so at in those days when I was growing up, you know, I come and I meet InspAyre as the most dominant team in football. But I heard that Superstars, back in the earlier part of Hoppers, when Hoppers got together, because I play for Hoppers, as most people know. And
Hoppers was a tough team too.
Superstars, I hear, was the team to beat back in those days. So how much championship did Superstars win in your time? And just give me a rundown on a few of the players that played in your time with you in Superstars.
Okay, well, we started Superstars, came from the Antigua school team. Okay. You know, after we left school, we decided to stay together. You know, and I think we made one mistake as not to use the Antigua school as our base.
Okay.
You know, as Superstars was just a team. You know, after we played together as schoolboys, and then after leaving school, we played for a year or two before some guys migrated, and then you have people from outside, from wherever from all
started coming to play for Superstars.
Want to join the team, you know.
Okay.
And so when we lost and stuff like that, we didn't have an area to go back to where people would be, you know, kind of give you some stickers to, and stuff like that, you know. Not like InspAyre that come from the Grace Green community and stuff like that, you know. And so we had players that come from all over, and I don't think it, you know, and that's the reason why it really didn't last.
Yeah, but in terms of the championships, y'all won a few championships.
Oh yeah, we won 3 championships. We won 3.
That's at the Premier League level.
Premier League level.
So did y'all started from the 2nd division, 1st division?
No. Grammar school always had a team in Premier.
Okay.
Ram School also had a team in Premier, both in football and in cricket.
And those were years.
Were in the 60s,
In the 60s.
60s, 70s, yeah.
So were there 3 divisions in those days, or it was just 1 division?
What to tell you the truth, I only knew of one, the one that I played, the one that
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But in those days too, I remember when I was, I got selected to play against St. Lucia here in Antigua. Right? I was just like the crowd on the sideline looking on the game. You understand what I mean? And then halftime, I remember Basco saying, "Wait, little boy, you were playing." No, you going on second half, man. And he grabbed me and go in the dressing room and say, "Look, he's going on second half." And so I ended up playing. Yeah. But Bascos didn't come across, didn't see me.
You was just so excited to be there that you outside like a spectator.
No, but that's how it used to be before. Everybody was on the sideline. There was no bench. We were playing sit down on the bench and stuff. I don't know.
Oh, it was just.
Players just
And where was this game being played?
At the recreation ground.
At the
Recreation
So
ground.
recreation ground had people on the sideline down on the pitch area.
Oh, you mean?
And there was stands in recreation ground at that time?
Yes, and people around the goal also, people around the goal post also, around the goal post, by the side and so. If you kick a ball and you get too close to the some people can even guide it.
Guide it.
There's a couple of InspAyre guys did a couple of that.
Oh, so it was a different time. Those was different times. All right.
And at that time too, I must add that, there was a 5-1-4. I don't know. You might have heard of it now. After you got into coaching and whatnot. But there was 5 men on the forward line. You had a left wing, an inside left, a centre forward, an inside right, and a right wing. 5 men on the forward line, and one man in the center. In the center, they call it centre half, and of course your 4 backs.
And that was it.
Yeah.
So
To
5
start
up front.
off with, I was the only man in the midfield.
5 man up front,
5
1
man
man in
there.
midfield, and 4 in the back.
Yeah.
That was the formation.
The formation, and then somebody
Was
decided
that
to come.
a regular formation for most teams, or that your team?
No. That was the formation before.
Oh, okay.
And then somebody decided that, look, hey, in order to overpower the one person in the midfield, right? They changed 4-2-4.
So that 4 on the front line, 2 in the midfield, and 4 in the back.
And then somebody decided to come and say, look, counted the 2 in the midfield, let me put 3 in the midfield. So 4-3-3 now. And then you have 3-5-2, and you have, this is, all the formation was based off of a formation that, that they had before.
All right. Well,
Yeah. When I tell people that bouncing used to be a good little football team,
bouncing played right back.
and I tell you, it's because we were seasonal, Now, the children now they reach at a particular age now where they can play it all year round, for what they're really interested in. Because sometimes the field, you have to prepare the field for cricket, so you have to vacate the football area and whatnot, So.
But anyway, just anything that you would like to tell a young sportsman, football or cricket or basketball, if you have to tell him 5 things, what would that be?
Okay, well, the most important thing is repetition. Repetition, good habits, right? Be disciplined. And sometimes, they talk about skill. They like to say, oh, there's skill. But I try to tell them at times, sometimes the will is more important than skill. The will. If you have the will to win, sometimes you with the skill can't penetrate that. You understand me? So, and also repetition. I want to kind of touch on the repetition a bit because I do a lot of work with Alfred Galoshian.
Right.
And Cove coaching, yeah. Right. And he hooked up with a neurosurgeon to find out exactly how the brain functions when one is learning a new skill, And he explained a little more about the repetition and about muscle memory. In other words, he's saying, look, if you're learning a skill for the first time and you take a picture of the brain, you learning that skill. The brain is clustered. You see a lot of spots surrounding the brain. Right? And after three weeks to a month, and you learn in that particular skill regularly, right? All those clusters now just come and just get to a part of the brain. That is the muscle memory that is stored.
Okay.
So now the rest of the brain now is cleared to be creative, to do all things with that particular skill that you learn.
Okay.
Right? And then you use an example as someone who's driving a gear car for the first time. You know, you tend to want to look and see that you're putting first in first, you know, and so forth. And the brain is clustered at that time. After 2 or 3 weeks now, you know, right? You kind of cock your hand on the window, and so you see your partner passing, you blow your hand, pop, pop, or you want to put on your radio now because the rest of the part of the brain now is free. We do all the things. You pick up something that drops, and so while you're driving, so you know. So repetition, and after you've done things over and over and over again, the brain now relax and know exactly what you're going to do even before you do it. You know what I mean? So practice all the time. And they must also understand that all those players that they back and they support and stuff like that, they believe in, were once babies, unable to do anything for themselves. When you're a baby, you know, our sharks are like, no.
Right.
You understand what I mean? So you ask yourself the question, how does someone become good? And then you have to follow that particular pattern. It doesn't matter where you come from, what church you go. What it is, if you decide that you want to make it at something, there is a format for it, and you have to follow that format and be over and over and over and over again. And another thing is emotional intelligence. The last thing I want to touch on, emotional intelligence. Right? You know that sometimes coach will tell a player, hey, look, I'm sorry, but you're not going to make it. And he says, yeah. And he go back and try and prove to the coach, you said I couldn't make it, I'm going to show you I make it. Right. You understand what I mean? So all these international clubs and stuff like that, they look for the best players, the best youth players, all the best, you know. And then you ask yourself, how many of them make it? How many of those talented young players they get, how many of them make it? Some of them find themselves playing in a third division, maybe second, you know, right, and all these kind of things. And those who they kind of try to discard are the ones that come back and hurt them. And I say, wait. Sometimes you hear coach talking, look, I had that fella there.
The late bloomers, they call.
You
the one that they didn't see the potential in early.
No.
That person has it.
Is that player who decided that, look, yeah, I'm going to prove to you. I mean, I'm a Chelsea man, you know that.
Right.
And we had Salah.
It's amazing, eh?
And we let go Salah, and look, Salah disturb everybody.
Yeah,
so it is, you know, but that's what it is. I mean, regardless of where you come from, as I said before, and you want to make it, nobody can stop you from making it except you, right? And there are things that you need to do, to follow in order for you to make it, and you just have to make the sacrifice. And after you make the sacrifice and you've made it, things become very much easier.
Well, with that, Emma, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure having you here, and it's always been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah.
You know, we have our own personal here. Howdy, Emma.
Howdy, Emma. Howdy, so.
Nice to have you here, Emma, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a bright and prosperous New Year to you and your family.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and I want to wish you and the GN Sports Show and all those associated with it and the good work that you're doing in creating opportunities for these young players. I want to wish you guys all the best as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emma. And with that interview, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back to the GN Sports Show. Welcome back to the GN Sports Show. And in the house with me this evening is none other than Georgetta Lewis, national footballer and a face on Facebook now with Beat the Expert, a new initiative by the Antigua and Barbuda Football Association. Good evening, Ms. Lewis.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I'm doing absolutely awesome.
All right, so we just get into like, just a brief rundown in your journey to football, school you went to, and if you represented the school, your club career in the game here, and, just enlighten the people on the things that you have achieved and accomplished as well.
Well, we've had this conversation before, and you already know that it's a long history
Yes,
with
sir.
football.
So, just hit me short.
Of course. Well, most people if they're really following my sporting career, I started in track and field, I did martial arts, I was great in all of that. Football, I developed more in my teenage years, maybe around third form or so when I decided to take on football. And I was attending the Christ the King High School at that time. I remember going to the Antigua recreation grounds and watching our national team, and I was like, you know what? It's something I think that I could do and I'd probably like doing, because I was always more of the contact type of person, the aggression, it was all, I was
You
all
went
about
to
that.
martial arts, so
And trust me.
you don't have to shout the contact part now.
So I did take up football. At the time, Mr. Brumont was our physical education teacher, and he wasn't really a fan of that because, track and field and football and your legs and the injuries and stuff like that. But, it's just what I wanted to do, so I did make that choice. My first year, I did end up obtaining the most Golden Boots Award for that first season. And it's a big achievement for a school like Christ King High School, because we weren't really known to be the best at those sports. The second year, I did get MVP. And by the third year, which was my final year there, we actually won that season. So it was their very first championship. I got MVP, most goal, and player of the year that year.
All right, just now, let me go back. Let me go back there, because something that strike me kind of odd. You say you started playing football when you was in third form.
Yes.
You was doing martial arts and track and field.
Correct.
You weren't playing no football, none whatsoever.
I mean, the kicking and the running, I guess.
Was Christ King participating in school league football before
They were.
before that time?
They were, and their score lines were like 27
So
to
they had-
nil,
so they had a
24 to nil. Yes, they
So
did.
who was the coach of that team?
Before I went, I'm not sure.
Or who was the coach when you were there?
That was Mr. Thaddeus Price.
Oh, Mr. Price was the coach there. All right.
Yes.
Photographer Price.
Yes, himself.
And-
The one more.
Yeah, one more. Keep it at one more thing. So, and then they say first year you got most goals.
I did.
Second year you got most goals and MVP.
Correct.
Third year you got most goals, MVP, and you won the championship.
And player of the year.
So how long then I had a statue in the Christ King School yard did you?
Correct.
You need
I
a statue.
agree. Or a
believe-
plaque.
I don't, a plaque not going to do justice.
Yeah,
I think you need a statue.
I agree.
Because it took me.
I mean, we all can agree they were more of the academic type kind of school. When it's not that they didn't produce great athletes, because especially in track and field, they had very good athletes. And like I said, football wasn't a dominant sport. And by the time I came about, we had a nice handful of girls. There are a few. Please don't choke me, but off the back, I could remember there was Etta James. She was like my ride or die in the defense. Like, she just had this one perfect spot on kick. Once she picked it up in the defense, she was going to flow it all the way to the top of the field, and that's all I needed.
Sure.
And then I have a winger. I remember that was Bianca. We had Carissa Smith. She was a pretty decent goalkeeper. Just to fear them off the top of my head, I can't remember everybody's name. It was a very long time.
All right.
I don't want to show my age, but I don't pass like 15
we
years.
we all understand. We all understand. So from Christ King, you went on to.
I went to the Iowa Wesleyan University in Iowa. I got a scholarship. One of the deans came to Antigua, and they met with Mr. Sobi Gomes, and they had three young men that he was sending off. They were interested in a female, and they decided, because remember, I was always with Wings. I wasn't even a part of the Villa Lions. But I guess because of outstanding performance, they figured she would have been a good candidate, They reached out, and, from then it was just like, my mom was like, hey, opportunities like these come once in a blue moon, so let's not even pass it up.
So 4 years from not playing
at all.
I tried. I got to take notes.
At all. Not
playing.
that I wasn't around it, because the Grace Green community, the InspAyre and my brother and stuff.
Please let me finish, mistake. From not playing to most goal.
Yes.
The most goal and MVP.
Yes.
The championship,
Yes.
most goal MVP, and then
Correct.
scholarship in 4 years.
Yes.
That's somebody whole career you just get there in 4 years.
Correct. I
A
mean,
whole
it
career,
happens. It happens. Maybe I just got lucky.
So how did it go when you went to the university? How did this school team perform?
Well, of course, it would be above standard of what we play here in
Right.
Antigua, but I thought that maybe it would have been a harder thing for me to do to fit in, because of course it's a different style,
Right.
more structured style,
Right.
because we're not talking about the football where we are today. Yes, I know a lot of people do think that we should be doing a lot more for females here, and our game should be at a higher level, but we're still some ways from what we were when I was playing in at that age.
Yes, of course.
So I thought about what my speed would be like, my strength would be like. I worried about my height, my weight, different things. But again, you just have to be mentally strong. And I worked hard, and I always told myself it didn't matter where I was from, what I looked like, what color my skin is, how high I am, I'm never less. So I wanted to be the fastest. Even though I was the shortest, I wanted to jump the highest. I wanted to jump the furthest. I just wanted to be the best at everything.
Definitely. So was it during that span when you got your first international call-up for the national team?
Correct.
And that school was how much years? 4 years? Was it 4 year school?
It was a 4 year.
It was a 4 year school. So
Yes.
when you got called up for the national team, it was away in college.
Yes.
And so what tournament did they call you up to call? And our age group, was it youth team or was it senior team?
Well,
that came up?
remember, we're talking about, you're making me show my age.
I know. I thought
Back
about
then,
the question before, no, but then
yes,
I
but
had
no-
to ask the question, so
No,
sorry.
It's valid. It's at that time, even the league itself didn't have much structure. So we didn't have a under 15, under 17.
Okay.
It's just one open thing, female league. So
Right.
even at 15 and 16, the females on my team were already 25 and in their 30s. So you remember girls like Shanette, Moff,
Right.
Stacy, Thomas, Ondell, those bigger girls,
Right.
Akila.
Right.
That's who I was playing with at the time.
Oh, so when they came back to represent Antigua, those were the girls that were on the national
Correct.
team at that particular time?
Yes.
All right, and was it a tournament you came back for? And, what was the tournament and who you all played against, if you could remember?
Well,
And where was it played? Was it played here or was it
I did
away?
both home and away. Our results were crazy because countries like Jamaica, as you can see, they're still very dominant.
Right.
Places like Jamaica and Trinidad, they were always
Those
very...
were the team you all played against?
Yes.
But listen, there's nothing that beat the experience. You
Yes,
understand what I'm saying? Because,
and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
the score line, for me, matters, but what you get from it matters more. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So these things,
And that's why sometimes I want it so much more for us, because I always feel like if they can do it, we can. That, and I can't, throughout my whole sporting, not just career, lifestyle, I always used to see somebody, even if I think I'm good at this, if I see somebody doing it better, my mentality is always like, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. I want to know what is it that you're doing while you're this good at that, how I can mimic that, how I could, incorporate in what I'm doing to become that. And I feel like at the end of the day, they're girls and I'm girls,
Right.
And if they can do it, then I should be able to do it. If they can do it, we should be able to do it. And sometimes that's just where,
well, I've represented Antigua to myself.
Of
and
course
I could
you
remember
have.
Banks Derrick saying this. At one, we was going into the World Cup qualifiers, I think was 2010, so we was going for 2014 World Cup qualifiers. That was the last time, the last World Cup qualifiers I played four qualifying series, right? And he said, in a meeting, it was me, him, Nando, and I think it was the coach at the time, Tom Curtis. And he said, we are not going to participate. we're going to represent.
Absolutely.
And that was the start of the campaign. That's the campaign where we got out of the group with Haiti and all them and end up in the group with the USA and so on and so on.
I was at that game.
Yeah, so from that,
I drove hours to make sure I was at that game.
just from that statement, I'm saying I was always a competitor.
Yes,
but just
but
from
that
that
took-
statement,
yes.
no, because participate is you just going and
You're
showing
going
yourself.
to show yourself, and
That's
it is what it is.
So but and over the years we've gone to participate.
Participate,
No,
and
we
you
have
just
never gotten
represent
past the
and give
first
it a
round.
different meaning.
So now when you say we're going to represent, mean that we're going to be and they're going to know that we are.
Yeah,
there.
feel our
That's what I'm
presence.
saying. And
Absolutely.
we had a good run, to be honest. I think we played in the first round. We played 6 games in the first round and we won 5 and we lost 1. Yeah, we won 5 and lost 1, and then we went on to the next round where we played another 6, and I think we won. We didn't win any. No, we draw with Jamaica, and we lose to USA twice, Guatemala twice, and I lost to Jamaica once. But I think overall in our whole World Cup qualifying era, that was our best representation.
It was.
You know, but
It was.
that was mine. That was yours. So
Yes.
I know you. I've always known. I've known you to be a coach, but I've known you to be coaching male teams. I think
Yes.
you was coaching wings
Yes.
men team, right?
Yes, I was.
So how did you transition from being a player to? Because I think I've seen you play. I think last time I see you had a knee band, so I don't know if you have a bit.
I've had this knee injury
problem.
all the years throughout my career when I was playing and balling, and when people think that I was still climaxing. Well, don't get me wrong. I probably could still get back on the field, but
but just carry me through that transition from.
In college actually I tore both my ACL and my meniscus, and that was one of my greatest challenges. But again, I have a very supportive mother, but she's supportive in the most mean way.
Meaningful.
But no, mean.
You gotta be meaningful.
No, mean. But such a nurturing way that, it's like you can't help but to, hey, take it in and suck it up and keep pushing. It's like we don't come this far to throw in the towel.
I've seen your mother. She doesn't look like.
She was, I kid you not.
I've seen your mother.
She
looks like a really pleasant lady.
Right, absolutely. I agree 100%. But when it comes to us and getting something done, she don't play.
Well, that's I'm saying is you've been successful in schooling and your footballing career. So then I don't think
she
her
pushes.
way was a bad way.
No, not at all. And again, I would never trade it for the world. I mean, the knee injury came. I came home. Therapy was. And sometimes I look back and I say, I probably didn't live the most exciting, maybe to me, teenage life, because sometimes I'm sitting down like, boy, teenagers, 16-year-olds and 15-year-olds and 17-year-olds partying, living, hanging with their friends, going to the beach, going to the movies. That wasn't my life. It was rehab. It was, and she didn't ever complain to spend a dime. It wasn't dependent upon the ABFA. It wasn't dependent upon any coach or any club. It was any dollar when it comes to your doctor, physicians, physical therapy. We didn't have to question it. Mommy, this hurting. If she couldn't fix it herself, which would be the first option, if she couldn't fix it herself, she makes sure you get that. You know what I mean? Right. Sometimes I did want to go out and she was like, 2 weeks they have a tournament, so no, you can't go because anything can happen. Let's not risk it. You know what I mean? Simple things like that. Very disciplined. I remember when I was in Australia, I went to Australia for the World Games for martial arts. My first showing, I broke my toe. And, I look up in the stands to try and find her. I spot her. I waved to her and she was like, what happened? I'm saying, I broke my toe. I couldn't scream it, so I'm saying, I broke my toe. She said, what? By the time the judges gave their decision and whatever, thank God I won. She was there on the sideline. I came out and, I was like, Mommy, I think I broke my toe. She was like, you serious? She was like, okay, don't worry. We went up in the stands. They'd called for the medics and whatever. But before they even got her, she was like, hey, count to 3. And I, 1, 2, 3. She done slipped that toe right back into place. And there were more things for me to compete in. And she straight up is like, we didn't come this far to throw in the towel. You do have a choice. If you want to sit out, you can sit out. But if you want to do this, we're going to band up this foot. We're going to numb it. We're going to rub it. Do whatever you need to do. You go in, you fight, and you come back out, and we nurse it. If you have to cry, but you're going to go in and fight. And I kid you not, I went in and I fought and made sure I brought home all 3 gold medals.
In martial arts?
In martial arts. So, yeah, she was like that. She was very tough. Mr. Brumont, I remember sometimes I would compete, like they would have their events, and I'll go and I'd run the 60 meter, run the 100 meter, run the 200, run the 400, run the 800, run the 1500, still do the long jump, still do the high jump, and still throw. And people are like, Gigi, you're full of energy, but you do need to rest. Sometimes my body is failing, but the willpower is just going. And he sometimes will go to my mom and be like, I'm trying to tell her not to do it. And she would just look at him simply and say, well, if she wants to do it, just let her do it. So like I said, she is tough, but in the most nurturing way possible, if you know what I mean.
I don't. I don't. All right. So you're transitioning into coaching. So the first team you coach was a male team. Is it Wings?
Yes. No.
What was it? Who was it?
I actually started at the Princess Margaret.
Oh, so you went in the school system?
I did. I started in the school system. I actually had 2 championships there with them because they're always
girls team?
the girls.
Okay.
Very solid. So I had 2 championships and a knockout championship with them. And then after the regular work and coaching in the school system was kind of clashing. So I decided if I did wanted to stick with coaching, I would have to do something that's not messing with my 9 to 5 at the time.
Right.
So, and you already know what my work situation is.
Right.
So, in order to keep them happy and then still do what I wanted to do, I had to try to find something. Then, when you think about children and females, even the training hours would have to be a bit early because we don't want females outside and children outside too late. So I made a conscious decision on doing Mr. Peter Griffith. That's Quentin's father.
Right.
He was the first one who approached me about what did I think about doing it. He actually said that he submitted my name even before calling because he wasn't going to take no for an answer. So I actually started at Erlins in the first division.
Oh.
Yes.
So you have a coaching license, Georgia?
Yes, I do have
and you did it where?
Here in Antigua.
Okay.
Here in Antigua.
So, if you don't mind me asking, what you have?
Yeah, I have the DNC license.
The license. Is
the
it
last.
CONCACAF DNC?
Correct.
Okay. So how long did you stay at Erlins?
I did 1 year with Erlins. Erlins is a far drive. I'm a town girl. It's a far drive. And getting there is fine. Running the sessions is fine, but coming back, boy, oh my goodness, it's a distance, and the sleeping and the fatigue after working all day.
And you have to go work next morning.
You better believe that. And still had a young child at the time too. So I had to find something that then not just worked with work, then feasible for my own safety.
I understand that. And you're probably driving back by yourself most of the time.
I am.
Because I know nobody from
Nobody. Exactly. So I looked into it. I reached out to Mr. Brumont, who has been the long-standing president forever, and I have been a member for over 2 decades. Correct. So I reached out to him and said, what you think about me starting a team and entering in the 2nd division? And I've seen his dedication and the work that he put in with us all the years, and people before me and after me. And I was like, hey, if you can do it, I can do it. I'm always about that life. And he was like, okay, yeah, you could go for it. And, I spoke to my mom about it, who was always my biggest supporter, my backbone, my bank, my loan, my everything.
Make sure your mommy watch this, eh?
She probably go choke me.
Make sure your mommy watch this, Christmas could be really, really
she
nice.
probably tired of me. But, yes, and, she really supported that move. And we did everything from scratch. We did our little recruiting, financing jerseys, equipments, whatever it is that I needed. She made sure I had it. And of course we struggled in the 2nd division. I did 5 years with them, and the very last season I had with them was actually a very good season because promotion was kind of promises. Of course, football is a game where you hit and miss. It would have been the first, and things didn't work out after a while, so I had to venture off and make other moves.
All right, understood. So You've been in the female game.
I have.
And you've been in the male game.
Correct.
And but let me just focus a bit on the female part of it. And for me, I think schooling is not enough football to develop our young female football.
For national or
in general? In general,
okay.
Because you go to school from 8 to 1:30, give and take, and then a coach from the ministry is going to come in to coach you, but a kid might go to PM school and live in Erlins or Boland.
Yes.
And then that person might take the school bus. So, that becomes a problem.
One of the first things I wanted to highlight in what you said is about unless they're participating in an academy or something else. I mean, that's another thing my mother was very big on. You see, those after-school activities, those extracurriculums, very, very vital. I mean, my brothers and I did anything under the sun, and I'm clearly taking pattern from her because now my daughter is the same thing. So we did all these different disciplines to help to keep you mentally disciplined, mentally always competitive, and just physically fit to participate in any sport. Now, yes, I understand. Like you said, I probably didn't have as much in high school for football, but because I was still maintaining the discipline through other sports, when even after not doing those sports anymore and football became the sole sport that I did, I already came with that discipline to know that, hey, I have to keep working hard, and when they don't do anything outside of like school, and make it worse now with technology, the TikTok thing and whatever, and then we try to take them from that and throw them into the game because again, parents take the initiative and make the sacrifice to keep them engaged. We call it positively influenced, but physically influenced, mentally influenced. If it is that in the future you want them to be good or to at least be above average when it comes to a certain level. Now, outside of the extracurriculums, in the school system, like you said, we only have limited time with them.
Yeah.
I made a post maybe last week kind of pointing out something like that, because then what happens is you have, say, 5 average players. But those average players outshine everybody else because everybody else pretty much just making up numbers.
Okay, before you continue this, I think if we put more things in place, because I'm saying, think about it, even if we do a school league for girls at the primary level,
They did try that. I remember them trying that before. Yeah, I remember.
Because I'm saying even this.
But I think how Mr. Benjamin had set it up was even so
I went and watched the primary school league, and I see girls play
with the boys because it wasn't
much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not every school has that.
Correct.
I'm saying, but if there is an emphasis on it, even if it's a 5v5 or 6v6,
right?
You know what I'm
just
saying?
get them football ready and football in tune.
So from that 6, you might get 2. And
right.
If you have 7 schools and you get 2, that's 14. And then you get a next set that is in the academies outside.
Yes.
Here. Then now it becomes a bigger pool and we have a faster development. Because think about it, I know for sure, when I started playing at let me say when I went to Trinidad, everybody was good. I had to catch up.
Correct.
But when you got the national team now and we have 4 girls in an 18-man squad that could play, you know the amount of people coming trying to catch up there?
Well, then that's the problem too. That's what I was coming to, even, in what I was saying. Now, what's happening is, even when we take them and put them in the national team, say the 5, we're putting them in the national team, then we're still looking at how well they played in the school league and not developing them now as national players because this is a different level, right?
True.
So then they're at that par, say they're average, they're that par, with no insights to say, hey, I still have to level up. And then the others who are making up numbers, not even becoming average because it's just the same old routine all the time. How are we really developing them? Even per se in the school, you're getting them from 1st, 2nd, 3rd form. By the time they reach the 5th form, if they're playing with you, we should be getting more than just the 5. Because remember, the 7 that we called isn't out of one school.
But remember,
this is out of school across the whole island.
We say at the school level, remember, school league only plays for a particular time.
I think a term, maybe.
A term.
Like a term-ish.
And the time to train them is not that much.
Right.
So
you want to know what we can do outside of the school league?
Yeah, because I'm saying the school doing their part.
Because
I think if there's something.
Because as far as I know, because I don't want to discredit the ABFA, as far as I know, they do have. I know, but you already know how
how people take
Right.
things, right? Yeah.
We don't want to discredit them, and me saying not discredit them because, to my knowledge, they have I think they still refer to it as a grassroots program.
I see
where
something on Facebook the other day.
right, that they do have. I would want to believe it would be like, for instance, the girls that they select throughout were called to actually come and train at the technical center. I want to believe that's what's happening.
Okay.
Right? But again, are we making sure they're now being trained beyond what their normal? You understand what I mean?
Right.
Are they being facilitated with all of the knowledge and the understanding? Because again, if I am coaching in the men's league and I have grown men coming to the team, and other than the fact that they kick the football, they know you score in this goal, you switch, we score. A lot of them still don't understand football. They don't know the game. You understand what I mean?
Right.
So are we really educating them outside of just the regular, hey, kick the ball, go this way, kick the ball, that goal? When they're at the national level, we need to understand, hey, this is offside, this is not offside. This is to understand the play when the play is on, when to press, how we do our counter. You know what I mean?
Right.
How we defend, how we attack, how we spread, how we pinch in. A lot of players still, even at the national level, don't understand things like that. And again, I can't blame the players. And then it's not because the coaches don't know. So again, we're not discrediting the coaches to say that the coaches don't know. But then the communication between the two to make sure what we know, that they know it and they understand it, then sometimes I think that's where, because I've seen a lot of females and I've played with a lot of them, and even being on the field with them and you say, hey, do this. I know back in the day, me again, always trying to get as much knowledge as possible. My coach would always say, oh, Gigi's the most coachable player we have. Yeah, because if he say run left, I'm going to run left. The only voice I'm hearing is my coach. If he said to run right. And in my mind, there has to be a reason why he's telling me this, regardless if I agree with it or not.
Let me ask you a question.
It must be a reason why.
Okay. Did your mother ever question the coach?
Never.
Okay. So I think that's one of the problems we have now.
Okay.
A lot of parents believe that they know more than the coach.
Okay, understood.
I think that's one of the problems.
It could be. No, if it's if it's a factor, it's a factor.
It's a factor. So, but as I understand where you're going with this, and I just think that the school plays its league between September to December.
And then you
correct?
still have to remember now, when they call for nationals, these girls don't go in camp until the appointed time.
They go to camp at all?
And right. And then when you really think about it, again, even if the coaches had a million things they would like to do, sometimes they still don't get to train a national team until 2 weeks before the tournament. So themselves don't get to execute as much as they would like to. So for me, it's not so much of what we do, is how we do it. So if we are training, fine, keep training. But then, of course, 2 weeks before the tournament wouldn't work. Let's try to get them in at least 3 months by the minimum.
Right.
You understand what I mean?
I understand, of course.
If it is you're putting them in camp, it's fine. But 2 days before the tournament will not work. Let's get them in camp at least a month prior. Because work, eating habits, just everything, partying, whatever it may be. There's a lot of things that could affect your performance. So by limiting that, make sure you have everybody in the camp. And I don't think it should be an issue if they have to leave to go to work and come back, but you come back to camp.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I understand, of course.
Things like that. Because another thing that I'm seeing that is very, very, very common now is a ton of the national athletes being selected, and then when it's time to play, Chikwata, them injured because we don't get to monitor them enough. So they're still playing this league, that league, still doing this, still doing that, and then you pick your squad of 20 men and 8 out of the 20 injured.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, in that instant, I'm saying is if I get called for a national team, let me say our football season is September to whatever, right, during the year, and I get called for Antigua in September, and I got injured playing Grace Farm League in August, I'm going to tell them I'm injured.
But that's the problem. But again, even if the players don't want to be honest with themselves as coaches, managers, whatever title you hold, it is your job to do your homework. I think players should, again, another thing, players should be going to physicals.
But I'm saying, George,
physicals before.
Would you honestly sit here and say that your coaches trusted you in it?
Of course.
Okay, right. So then,
but it goes both ways. But see, my thing is that I could never sit and see two parties could do something and point the finger at one. if you understand what I mean.
Right.
No, don't get me wrong. The players should be honest.
Right.
Correct. But even just give and take, because remember, they want it, They want it, whether they want it for the free ride, they want it for the hotel, they want it to actually play. As the coaching staff, it is still your job to do your homework. They're supposed to be going through physicals. They should be make sure they're physically fit and able to give you 100% or even 90% of whatever it is that you ask of them. It's just like a job. When you go on the job, you're the boss. Regardless how much lies the employees come with, it's up to you to find out if they're telling the truth or not, or they're equipped to do. Could you imagine if a pilot was lying and the guy was like, "Oh, I trust him," and you fly up in the plane and the man don't know how to fly the plane?
Well, I don't think you have a pilot license if you're not a pilot.
You don't know.
You're
You can forge one.
Right. But anyway,
But you know what I mean.
I understand where you're going.
So
Anyway,
it's just up in our level with everything, and it has a lot to do with educating and communicating. And sometimes it's like I did mention in post, sometimes it's not just on the field, What facilities do we have, for strengthening and conditioning, access to gyms, physicians. I just randomly said this to somebody. They thought it was a great idea, but again, it was just a random thought. I'm like, hey, why national players don't have a national player ID where if I went to a gym and I showed them my ID, they say, okay, here, you get 20 or 30% off. Why can't I go to the doctor as a national player and get... Because we understand everything cannot be on the ABFA's expense. We get that. But if it is my whole lifestyle has to change to represent the country, then it shouldn't always be on me either. If I want to eat more healthy now, God knows, food is not cheap. Right. And the healthier options are even more expensive. You know what I mean? How do we have access to these things? How do we have access to the gyms? How do we have access to pools, vitamins, whatever it is, to build strong athletes? That's why sometimes you have good talents going to waste, maybe because of their family background, and some people who probably benefit more because their parents can afford it, even though they may not be as great as somebody else. But we shouldn't be losing nobody through the system because of just finance.
all right. Anyway, so
So it's a lot we could do.
I understand where you're going,
Yeah.
and I really do appreciate your thoughts and the
Yes,
topic
yes.
of the development part of it.
Yes.
But I want to get into the more interesting bit before we, take a quick break. The Beat the Experts. I watched it last weekend, and I think your 5 predictions.
I know, it's crazy,
I think
innit?
you nicked all in it.
Yeah, I think there were 2 games where I was just like 1 goal off.
Where was 1 goal off?
Yeah.
So how did you do the initiative? Was it you came up with it, or somebody in the ABFA?
No,
pitched it to you?
well, they came up with the idea.
Okay.
They did say, hey, we wanted you to do something, just nothing huge, nothing big, just keep interaction going and stuff like that. Then they're like, what would you think about, because I have conversations, and like, I think you're pretty good at, analyzing the games and, talking about the teams and, stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. And it's a bit challenging.
Right.
I did have to say it's not an easy thing to do. And again, I like challenges. I like things that have me thinking outside the box and have my brain pumping. So I decided, let's do this.
All right. Well, I like to say it's a nice program.
Thank
watched
you.
It. I really didn't. I watched the first time when they predict, and then after I went back to see how it went. And I see how it went, and I'm definitely going to be staying tuned.
And I mean, it's all based on my own opinion.
You
and
said
again,
that, no?
yes. And it's just watching the numbers, and again, being at the game and actually watching how they play and their style of play, if they're attacking teams, defensive teams, and who they're going up against. It's just simple things like that. I mean, I'm not going to always get it all right. I had a really good week last week, but...
All right. Well, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show. And,
Yes.
just sharing your background with us and all that, and your insights and how you're coaching and playing and everything.
Yes.
And I wish you all the best. Also, a Merry Christmas to you and your family.
And also, I know that the female league is... let me just throw that out there. We all know that they took a little break because of the national games. And I'm assuming they're going to resume.
Yeah, we should be resuming, but
Yeah.
they're going away on a tournament, I think, this weekend from 11 to the 14th.
Yes.
So we should resume
After that?
hopefully.
Okay.
So, hopefully that happens. So,
Well, I really brought it up because I just wanted to give another shout out to the Calvin Ayre Foundation, because, again, being in the system for a very long time, we were a bit dormant and stagnant, and I really appreciate what they have offered, and even the collaboration with the ABFA, because they needed it for whatever reason. They needed it because it's happening, and I like it. And well, you guys offered 5 years, and I'm praying that everything works out and it's consistent, and we attract more and more females to come and play, and we have more and more teams, and then you're going to have more names to memorize when it comes to your commentary. But, just keep it alive and well, because that's what we really want for the female football here in Antigua and Barbuda.
Definitely. And from our end, we definitely going to try to do that. So thanks for
stuff.
coming onto the show.
Of course.
And all the best. And we're looking forward to having you on some other time.
Sure thing.
All right. And with that, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the GN Sports Show.
All right, concussions.
Oh, that's a good topic,
Yeah.
concussions, because, with all this football, I always wonder whether hitting the ball with your head is a serious problem, because I encourage my kids to hit the ball with their head this is many years ago, because my kids are in their 40s now, but we encouraged them, wow, how cool that was.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize what it was doing.
Yeah,
causing concussions.
Yeah, and years of playing,
Yeah.
and I'm sure George can attest to this as well. If you head it incorrectly, there is a chance that heading a football incorrectly, there is a chance that you can be dizzy at times. Doesn't mean you have a concussion, but I mean you can be dazed at times on the field. But let's
Not
talk
just
about-
incorrectly, even correctly.
Yeah.
even with the forehead.
So concussions is a huge topic. I've seen a number of children already here in my time on the island with concussions, and it's difficult to diagnose. There is no test for concussions, no diagnostic test. You don't do a CAT scan to look for a concussion. You do a CAT scan to make sure there's no increasing pressure in the head, no bleeding in the head, no broken bone, no broken skull. And if the CAT scan is normal, which is many times the case, that doesn't mean that they don't have a concussion. So concussions, the way I explain it to parents and athletes and children, is that a concussion is a brain injury. I think it's important to use that word. It's a brain injury that robs your brain of all of its backup energy. So whether you head the ball, you do a header, whether you take a kick to the head, whether you get knocked with an elbow, whether something happens and your child doesn't necessarily have to lose consciousness, but is then confused, is then slow. 3 hours after the game, they're still telling you they have a headache. They're still not responding to you the way they normally would. They wake up the next morning, they can't go to school because they don't feel right. These are all symptoms and signs of a concussion. And that means that their brain needs to regenerate that backup energy. And how do you do that? Well, it seems to be a theme for here, rest, and specifically boredom. So how does your brain be bored? Well, yes, you don't go to school and you don't try to memorize and you don't try to do math questions, but you also don't stay home on your iPhone or your phone or your tablet or your screen, because the reason we all are in a sense addicted to our screens is because it's so engaging. You see something, you hear something, you make a decision, you click on something. These are all very different engaging things that we all have now grown accustomed to. They're very brain stimulating. But the concussed brain, the injury, the athlete's brain who is injured and robbed of that backup energy, that's not what they need.
It's putting an extra stress
Yeah.
on the brain.
Yeah, they can come into the hospital, they can see the bright lights, they can hear the noise that's just generally part of an emergency department or even a pediatric setting, and that can bother them in a way that it normally wouldn't. And these are all subtle signs that your child has had a concussion, that they need a bit of rest, they need a bit of time off school, but they also need a bit of time off their screens. And that's always tricky. Because the worst thing you can do is if you play through a concussion or you ignore a concussion and you take a second injury, a second concussion before the first one is healed, that's when you pick your sport of choice. In Canada, it's hockey. You see many high-end athletes who have had to even give up their sport because now they're having memory issues. Now they're having anger issues. Now their brain is healing, but it's not getting a chance to heal properly. And although we have some excellent neurosurgeons and there's been many advances in medicine, if you have a concussion on top of a concussion, there are changes that can happen that we honestly just can't fix.
And I think we have to tell parents to pay attention to their academic performance.
Yes.
Because that's going to suffer. And that might be the only sign.
Right.
Sometimes.
I thought the concussion when you and somebody head clash and you get what? I thought the concussion was when two people head clash and somebody come out bleeding.
Yeah. No, often the bleeding one is actually a release of the pressure and the force and is much easier for me to deal with than to tell a child who doesn't have a cut, is not bleeding, that the reason they're not doing well, the reason they're feeling nauseous, the reason that they're not responding to their parents' questions the way they should be or as quickly as they're normally accustomed to, is because their brain has sustained a concussion which is deprived of its energy, and the only way to get that energy back is to sleep, to rest, and to give your brain some boredom. And gone are the days
But
where
only
we-
for a short period of time. You
Oh,
don't
yes.
want,
Oh,
yeah,
no. We don't-
24, 48 hours maybe.
Yes.
But then after that, actually, I think the research is now showing
Very true.
that you should
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
back engaged
Yeah.
in schoolwork.
No, that is true. Gone are the days where we had a month off
Yes,
or
yes,
anything
yes,
like
yes,
that. That's
yes.
that the pendulum has swung back with a lot of good research, but that first 24, 48 hours after a head injury is key, partly to avoid a second injury and partly to allow that energy to regenerate. So the kids who have gone on to have prolonged concussion syndrome or prolonged concussion symptoms are the ones who go back too soon, don't get the rest, or if they're unlucky enough or they don't pay attention enough to have a second head injury, that's the problem. So no, it's not a month off, but it's also not back into the same game on the same sport.
No, for sure.
It's at least a couple days of brain rest, and once they've been awake for the first 4 to 6 hours after the head injury, because gone are the days where we say wake your child up every 20 minutes overnight for the next 24 hours, because that disruption in sleep is not helpful. But we'll often have kids, we don't do their CAT scan of their head, we monitor them, we check in with them up to 6 hours after their head injury, and if they're behaving appropriately and pass our physical exam maneuvers and our tests, they can avoid getting a CAT scan, and then they need to sleep, they need to rest, they need time away from sport, time away from screens, and that's a key point for any athlete, because it's hard to find a sport nowadays where you can't knock heads, whether you're a swimmer hitting the end of the pool because you've misjudged something, whether you're a basketballer taking an elbow, whether you're a netballer coming down, you get tripped and you fall. I've already seen a number of concussions here in Canada, in Antigua, and it's not bad long term if it's handled appropriately.
Dr. Chris,
Isn't he great? Isn't he great?
Dr. Rick was an encyclopedia from A to about M. About A to M, and you definitely is M to Z. And with that, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back to the GN Sports Show. And that's it for this week's episode of the GN Sports Show. Thank you all for watching, and hope everybody has a really good Christmas and a bright and prosperous New Year.
One through thick and thin, with love in our hearts, the season begins. The spirit of Christmas, the joy we share, on and off the field, you're always there. So here's a promise as the new year starts, we'll keep playing strong with all our hearts. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to our family and friends. The season's joy that never ends. Generation Next, forever will be united in love and victory. Generation Next, we sing for you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. May your dreams come true. Together as one, through thick and thin, with love in our hearts, the season begins.